As dawn unfurled across the valley, the village of Mbali slumbered beneath a blanket of mist. The air was thick with silence, not the peaceful kind, but one that pressed heavy against the chest. The huts, made of red clay and topped with straw, stood like memory stones, quiet, unmoving, forgotten. No birds sang. No goats stirred. Only the stillness remained. At the center, like a scar carved into the land, the Ndugu tree stood, tall, gnarled, and abandoned. They used to say the Ndugu tree could speak. That it remembered every footfall, every birth, every prayer. But no one sat beneath it now. Its bark was cracked, its roots overgrown, and a strange pulse could still be felt beneath the soil. The villagers called it cursed. Some said it drank dreams. Others said it buried voices. But only one person dared go near it anymore. Her name was Imela. Imela's fingertips met the bark like the breath before a scream. Warmth surged beneath her skin, not heat, but a heartbeat, steady and ancient. She pressed her palm flat, and the tree seemed to tremble. In her hand, a splinter of wood appeared, etched with symbols that shimmered and pulsed. She didn't understand what it meant. Only that it was a beginning. That night, Imela dreamed again. She stood beneath a sky lit with moons that bled gold. The Ndugu tree loomed overhead, not broken but blooming with fire. A masked woman stood among its limbs, arms spread, mouth silent. As Imela stepped forward, the mask cracked slightly, revealing eyes, her own eyes. The message was clear, the past had chosen her. In the daylight, Imela walked through the village square. Eyes followed her like knives. Murmurs followed, "Pavu, ghost child, trouble." No one welcomed her. Her aunt refused to meet her gaze. To them, she was a shadow cast by sins long buried. But Imela held her chin high. Because now, she knew the silence wasn't hers. It belonged to them. Guided by dream and whisper, Imela journeyed into the forest. Deep beneath canopy and vine, she found it, a clearing untouched by time. Bones lay curled like question marks. A stone altar stood in the center, wrapped in roots and offerings. Upon it, the cracked mask from her dreams. As she reached for it, the wind disappeared, and the forest exhaled her name. Smoke coiled from the mask as Imela held it close. In the haze, a face emerged, a woman with fierce eyes and soft features. Her name was Nima. Her mother. Lost to a lie. Imela didn't cry. Instead, her bones burned with truth. The mask had not just shown her memory. It had called her to finish what was stolen. She returned not as a child, but as a force. Barefoot, mask in hand, she crossed the threshold of memory. No one spoke. Doors slammed. Eyes hid. But they all watched. Because something about her had changed. She carried not shame, but answers. And for the first time in generations, the silence trembled. "I am not a curse," she said, voice clear as river water. "I am a return." Her words struck like thunder. The tree groaned behind her, shedding a single golden leaf. The ground warmed beneath her feet. And in that moment, even the most bitter tongues paused. The tree had heard her. The bark didn't split, it opened, like a mouth that had waited too long to speak. A soft golden glow poured out, spilling into the dust. Inside were names, carved with care. Dozens. Hundreds. A lineage erased by fear. And among them, in glowing letters, Nima. Her mother. Remembered. Imela's aunt collapsed, her wail echoing like a broken drum. "I tried to forget," she whispered. Her voice, unused for years, cracked like dry wood. She confessed the lie, the forced silence, the stolen birthright. And with every word, the tree pulsed brighter. The sky split wide, and the rain returned. Not a drizzle, but a downpour, cleansing, wild, alive. Children screamed with joy. Elders lifted their hands to the heavens. And the dust that had ruled for years finally disappeared. Mbali drank deeply. At dawn, women emerged with baskets of seed. Their hands, once cracked with drought, pressed into soil rich and damp. As they planted, they sang, not just to grow food, but to grow future. The earth responded, humming beneath their feet. Imela returned to her mother's abandoned hut. She swept, repaired, painted the door a deep red. Inside, she placed a mat, a stool, a single photograph, and a candle. Then she whispered, "We are home now." And the silence sighed, relieved. Under Ndugu's branches, children gathered around Imela. She read to them, stories of river gods, fearless mothers, and voices that refused to vanish. The children listened wide-eyed. Some repeated her words aloud. Others cried. They weren't just learning, they were remembering. "You are writing your names," Imela told them. "No one can erase that. Girls bent over slate boards, carving each letter like magic. One girl smiled, missing a front tooth. Behind them, the tree swayed gently, watching, protecting, approving. Colorful cloth strips now hung from Ndugu's limbs. Each one carried a prayer, a wish, a name. Mothers tied them. Children added beads. The tree wore them like a cloak of hope. It no longer mourned. It bloomed. Imela pressed the mask to her chest, then laid it into a carved box lined with red cloth. "Thank you for speaking," she whispered. "Now rest." She sealed it, not as an end, but as a completed circle. The burden had become legacy. Elder Mara watched from the edge of the square. Her eyes, once dim, now glimmered. She had waited her whole life for this moment. With a satisfied smile, she turned, cane tapping, disappearing into the trees. Her work was done. The village came alive with music. Drums roared like thunder. Torches painted the night in gold. People danced, not to forget, but to remember. Imela moved among them, not a ghost, but a root, planted, firm, alive. Ndugu stood taller now, leaves lush, bark humming, flowers blooming crimson. Children climbed its limbs. Elders sat in its shade. It was no longer feared. It was revered. It didn't whisper anymore, it sang. The sun dipped low, painting the sky with fire. Smoke from cooking fires curled lazily into the breeze. Laughter rang out across Mbali, not wild, but warm. The village, once muted, now pulsed with life. And at its heart, Imela. Imela stood at the edge of the village, her hands loose, her heart full. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. Her very presence told the story. She had become the voice the silence tried to swallow. And she had sung back. The river, once cracked and silent, now surged joyfully. Children splashed in its coolness, their laughter echoing across the hills. The land drank deeply. The curse was gone. The village had been reborn, and the ancestors wept with joy. Under the moon, the Ndugu tree shimmered. Its roots curled gently around the wooden box that held the mask. Inside it, a story waited, not buried, but preserved. And from it, new roots would grow. For Imela had not ended something. She had begun it.